suggestions that Meghan has been going to a few parties recently without Harry, and he's been at home.
Montecito runs on quiet money and quieter manners, a place where neighbors complain about leaf blowers in legalese. Into that hush drops a rumor with the force of a helicopter landing on a croquet lawn. Meghan has been slipping into parties without Harry, while he retreats to a rented, quiet bungalow that doubles as a private gym and safe room. No photograph proves it, but modern scandal doesn't need a Getty watermark, just a suggestive blind item and a blurry silhouette. Within hours, Instagram stories half-hide familiar jawlines at candlelit tables, Dumois-style tipsters hint at solo Duchess sightings, and X, formerly Twitter, threads cross-reference guest lists, valet stubs, and overhead drone shots of Montecito driveways.
Harry is so much better on his own, and the evidence appears to keep adding up.
The absence of a +1 becomes an evidentiary exhibit. The lack of a coordinated outfit becomes a thesis. People who have never set foot in Santa Barbara suddenly map out Meghan's alleged party circuit like military analysts, plotting distances between tasting rooms and art openings, timing presumed Uber rides, asking why Harry wasn't on that patio but was photographed 3 days later in Vancouver.
Meghan Markle targeted Prince Harry. She wanted to be a star. She rejected a couple of other British guys who weren't powerful enough. Then she was rejected by a bunch of them. How embarrassing for Prince Harry to have been the one who fell for it.
In a narrative economy where silence is suspicious and distance is damning, a husband's unseen shadow reads like a confession. May 19, 2018 felt like a global coronation of love. Cathedral acoustics, a Givenchy gown, a gospel choir that burned itself into wedding montage history. The fairy tale was sold wholesale. Hollywood actress marries British prince, credits roll, happily ever after assumed. The video insists the contract beneath the sparkle had footnotes. Harry was never the infinite wallet prince that meme culture painted. Royal money is generational, conditional, and welded to the institution they abandoned.
I remember in the car and driving up, and he said, "You know how to curtsy, right?" And I just thought it was a joke.
Once you step outside the firm's gates, armored Range Rovers become suburban leases. Royal protection officers morph into ex-SAS contractors billing by the hour, and Buckingham Palace press offices get replaced with LA crisis firms that itemize every email. The tiara stayed in the vault, but the invoices came due. 8 figures of Montecito mortgage, 6 figures a month on security if you believe the chatter, constant content creation to justify giant platform deals, and legal contingencies parked like SUVs in every driveway of their calendar.
Explain that you bow to your grandmother and that you will need to curtsy, especially to an American.
The supposed castle turned out to be escrow, the Moda hedge fund, and the fairy godmother a talent agency with quarterly targets. Meghan didn't just marry a prince. She married into a machine that malfunctions the second you unplug it. At first, Meghan and Harry were pitched as a unified disruptor brand, a package deal that promised to fuse royal mystique with Californian activism.
Making the public feel sorry for them, but in the end, like everybody found out, it was a lie.
Playing the victim.
Playing the victim card, and this is a very woke thing. This is the victim that they like to always become the victim to gain sympathy.
Netflix inked a deal, Spotify cut a check, publishers sharpened pencils. Inside conference rooms, decks featured their faces on back-to-back slides labeled authentic, global, modern monarchy. Then, deliverables met data. The video cites insiders describing the Sussex label as radioactive, a term no marketer uses lightly. Joint brand equity turned into joint liability. When one took a hit, the other's KPIs trembled. Sponsors balked at the unpredictability. PR teams advised triage, separate lanes, separate optics, separate P&L sheets.
Why is she lying about this? Why? Why can't she just say, "I'm so grateful to those producers who helped make me look amazing night after night and gave me my start in acting"? Because it's more important to her to be a victim.
Harry could still pack an arena for Invictus without a Duchess introduction. Meghan could pitch lifestyle, media, and venture deals without a prince dragging along centuries of tabloid baggage. On paper, the segmentation made sense. In the feed, it looked like drift. Fans noticed fewer joint interviews, fewer shared projects, more Meghan launches or Harry attends in headlines. What the spreadsheet called mitigation, the gossip economy called marital fissure. And once the word radioactive leaks, even as rumor, it sticks like a warning label.
So what was so important to us is because my wife in 2018 was the most trolled person in the world. There was a lived.
Every empire has its Waterloo. For Meghan's media arc, critics point to a fruit, the pineapple. A clip of her demonstrating how to cut one, lighting pristine, knives sparkling, detonated on social media as proof of everything detractors hated. Curated, banal, influencer energy without substance. Commenters sliced it more surgically than she did the fruit, calling it Pinterest cosplay and Martha Stewart for people who don't cook.
The first, I guess, a bombshell that came out of it was, if you cast your mind back to the royal wedding a few years ago, there was a headline that came out of it a few months later saying that Meghan had made Princess Kate cry, the Duchess of Cambridge. That wasn't exactly what happened.
Overlay that with a Netflix output that failed to redefine docu-storytelling and a Spotify podcast that ended in a corporate shrug, and you get a data trail of underperformance. The transcript claims hours of shot footage hit the cutting room floor for being boring or off-brand, which is PR speak for we couldn't salvage it. Meanwhile, meme accounts found their muse, edits went viral, and Meghan's empowerment narrative tilted toward parody. In today's economy, one viral mockery can do more damage than 10 glowing op-eds, because ridicule is frictionless and sticky.
That I wasn't just being thrown to the wolves, I was being fed to the wolves.
Try outrunning a looped pineapple clip when you're also trying to sell gravitas. Audiences smell the disconnect before focus groups finish their sandwiches. Here's the rumor vein the video mines hardest. Meghan is billionaire shopping, not with dating apps, but with RSVP lists. Imagine invite-only Silicon Valley ideation retreats where NDAs get signed with hors d'oeuvres. Picture European telecom tycoons' charity galas where a paddle raise doubles as an elevator pitch. Then add tech mogul salons in Malibu where a single group photo can goose a personal brand for months. Names swirl in hushed tones. A Dutch mobile magnate with a foundation fetish, a crypto wonderkin still chasing mainstream respectability, Ted Sarandos at Netflix, the executive who once called Meghan a rock star. Elon Musk's name hovers too, more as keywords for SEO than as credible target. But that doesn't matter. In rumor mills, plausibility is optional if virality is guaranteed. The strategy, some allege, is textbook. Proximity equals opportunity. Being seen in the right rooms plants story seeds. Let gossip sites water them. If one of those seeds grows into a partnership, or scandalously a romance, Meghan gets her pivot. To cynics, it's desperation disguised as networking. To strategists, it's just leveraging social capital when cultural capital dips. Silence has wattage, Oprah isn't calling, the Obamas are conspicuously absent from dinner party rumor recaps. Tyler Perry, the man who offered sanctuary when the UK door slammed, now gets characterized as politely impatient about favors owed.
You know, I never knew I would know a prince and a princess. That wasn't even what that was about. What I was reaching out to her for was because they were giving her hell.
Brooke Shields, on a podcast, chuckles at Meghan's childhood soap letter anecdote, branding it stale. In the influencer age, the quickest path to irrelevance is repetition. The video posits that Meghan's narrative feels over-rehearsed, test-marketed, algorithm-approved. In Montecito and Beverly Hills, authenticity isn't just nice, it's the gate key. If insiders whisper that you're manufactured, you don't get blacklisted, you get soft-blocked. Which is worse, you stop getting invited, not because anyone hates you, but because you no longer make a room buzz. Meghan's challenge, framed brutally here, is that she built her brand on aspirational polish at a moment when audiences crave messy transparency. The industry can forgive scandal, it rarely forgives boring. Financial independence was the rallying cry in 2020. It sounded romantic. self-made royals forging a new path. The spreadsheet tells a colder story. Private security for a high-profile family in a paparazzi-rich environment can run 6 figures monthly if threat assessments are honest. Crisis PR isn't a one-off. It's a retainer. Lawyers hover because one wrong line in a contract can nuke future options. Add nannies, house managers, grounds crews to tame Montecito's flora, tutors for bespoke education needs, private travel when commercial becomes untenable. Suddenly, your baseline burn rivals a small film production. Meanwhile, the video claims engagement is slipping. Lower watch times, sponsor hesitation, tepid renewals. When top-of-funnel awareness is high but conversion to admiration is low, revenue streams flicker. Independence without institutional scaffolding means you shoulder every cost and must generate every dollar.
What a dope. We had Tom Bauer on their show on Friday being like, Prince Harry's dumb. That's why he went for the one that, I don't know, all these other soccer stars rejected and so on. But they were conniving and they saw a means to stardom.
The transcript's killer line, independence comes with invoices. A brand under performance pressure makes riskier plays. Some call that hustle. Others call it flailing. The truth usually sits in a ledger. Fresh start. Individual rebrand. These phrases, according to the video, echo through Meghan's camp like mantras pinned to whiteboards. There is no divorce filing, no official split, but the scaffolding of a contingency plan looks, from the outside, suspiciously like preparation. Story arcs get workshopped. Philanthropist mogul hybrid, sustainable luxury entrepreneur, Silicon Beach dealmaker. Visual languages get mood boarded. Fewer florals, more futurism, less duchess, more disruptor. Messaging templates sharpen. Independence as empowerment. Reinvention as integrity. The chessboard gets reconfigured. Which allies remain, which get benched, which new patrons can be wooed. Meghan's life is, after all, a string of reinventions. Actress to royal, royal to refugee from royalty, refugee to media entrepreneur in a heartbeat. If the marriage narrative is waning, the solo narrative must be ready to sprint the second the whistle blows. Harry, conversely, is cast as yearning for simplicity, steady geography, predictable routines, maybe even a quiet UK foothold. When momentum meets inertia, something gives. If neither yields, the relationship becomes a rope, tugging 2 brands in opposite directions. Ask royal photographers and they'll tell you. Harry at service events, Invictus Games, Wounded Veterans Summits, Kids Charity Zooms, radiates a different energy than Harry on a red carpet beside Meghan. Candid laughs, unforced gestures, eye contact held just a beat longer, the raw pre-Megxit Harry seeps through.
Have you been hanging out with Meghan and Harry since they've been in California?
No, I don't know them.
The video leans into this contrast. Muddy boots versus polished kitchen counters. Gratitude speeches versus product demos. In image politics, archetypes matter. Harry becomes the soldier poet, the son of Diana doubling down on service. Meghan becomes the strategist, the operator, the mogul aspirant. That binary is unfair. People can be multidimensional, but audiences love binaries because they're easy to file mentally. So each solo photo op becomes one more tile in a mosaic declaring that Harry thrives without the Duchess glare, even if reality is more nuanced. And once a mosaic looks complete, it's hard to convince viewers they're just seeing a slideshow. Modern rumor behaves like a hydra. Slice off one head with a carefully worded denial, and 3 more grow. In a reaction video, a TikTok face read, and a 20-tweet thread on lamp placement proving separate bedrooms. PR can address mainstream outlets, it cannot litigate 200,000 Reddit comments and 1 million YouTube shorts. The transcript underscores how every micro misstep spawns new microeconomies. Breakdown channels, lawyer react streams, body language experts hawking courses. Defenders fatigue because fighting rumor is unrewarding labor. Detractors energize because dunking and theorizing earns engagement. The Sussex narrative metastasizes from a linear story into an ecosystem with its own food chain. In that jungle, official statements are mosquitoes, annoying, easy to swat. The terrain itself remains hostile. Meghan and Harry can win battles. A charity initiative here, a polished interview there, but winning the war requires reshaping the algorithmic environment that currently profits from their chaos. That's a bigger lift than any PR firm can promise. Two names cut through the noise: Archie, Lilibet. They're not trending tags or brand extensions, they're children. Should separation move from tabloid column to court docket, the optics game gives way to family law's quiet brutality. Judges don't weigh pineapple memes. They weigh schedules, emotional stability, primary caregiving patterns, educational continuity. A parent's frantic need to stay relevant can be reframed as instability. A parent's camera-shy retreat can be reframed as disengagement. Every photographed school run, every documented bedtime, every nanny contract suddenly matters more than a Netflix trailer.
They're ridiculous after that. They want it both ways. You know, you can't be, these people were so mean to us and poor us, and we don't want all this attention, and then let me write a book about how much we don't want attention.
The video notes that custody optics begin long before lawyers file motions. Each public moment can become a footnote in a future exhibit. Both Sussexes know this. Both have lived inside institutions that document obsessively. But in civil court, you cannot spin a docket entry with a heartfelt Instagram caption. The question becomes painfully practical. Which home, which routine, which parent offers the least turbulence? Divorcing a spouse is one thing. Divorcing an ecosystem of contracts, trusts, LLCs, and joint IP is something else. The Sussex portfolio likely includes streaming agreements with deliverable schedules, podcast contracts with morality and exclusivity clauses, book deals with sequel options, trademarks tied to joint ventures, charitable entities with governance boards, real estate held in layered trusts. Unwinding ownership or control in any of these can trigger renegotiations, clawbacks, or tax landmines. Imagine a Netflix contract negotiated on the premise of the Sussex story as a duo. What happens if that story dissolves? Imagine a foundation branded around their combined initials. Who steers it post-split? And how do donors react? Add to that the personal, prenuptial agreements, if any, post-nups if renegotiated, and California's community property laws. The video doesn't dive into legalese, but it hints at the complexity. Emotional endings are messy. Legal endings are meticulous. Each asset becomes a negotiation, each clause a lever, and in the background, public sentiment fluctuates, which can affect leverage in intangible but real ways. The transcript sketches futures like a choose-your-own-adventure. Door A, reunify and rebrand. The couple lands a breakout project or a philanthropic coup that reframes them as united, resilient, and indispensable. The internet groans, then moves on. The Sussexes buy time, and maybe genuine peace. Door B, elegant split, loud futures. A joint statement dripping with mutual respect, a custody plan the public deems fair, and then simultaneous launches. Meghan's billionaire-backed venture or media platform, Harry's intensified service mission, perhaps a partial UK reconciliation tour. 2 tracks, both monetizable, minimal bloodshed. Door C, gray zone stalemate. No divorce, no renaissance, just a slow drift that keeps rumor mills grinding. They become permanent tabloid B-roll, earning in drips, spending in torrents, relevance maintained through speculation rather than output. Secret hallway. Legal and narrative chess played in silence. Quiet prenup revisions, layered NDAs, selectively leaked tidbits to build future memoir markets. Moves we won't decode until a ghostwriter drops a chapter in 2037, or a lawsuit forces discovery. In each scenario, the currency is attention, and the cost is privacy. The balance sheet is fragile. Strip away tiaras, memes, and PR spin, and the core is simple. In 2025, relevance is oxygen. Lose it, and you scramble toward cameras, causes, capital, or any headline that keeps the feed refreshing. Maybe Meghan bolts the fairy tale back together, or swaps crowns for cap tables. Maybe Harry trades Montecito stress for London pints and muddy boots. Or maybe the truth is smaller and more human. Two people recalibrating under a microscope they helped polish. Whatever the outcome, the internet will time every move, judge every breath, and keep demanding more oxygen.